Welcome to What's Really Happening with Southern Utah. I'm your host, McKennan. Today in studio we have Paul Monroe and Dave Harris with the different things that are going on. That's a very hot topic right now is water conservation, especially in Iron County and throughout the Southern Utah area. In studio, we want to talk about what's going on with the different plans that are being initiated, especially with the growth that's happening, and then the different conservation initiatives that are going on within our Iron County area. Paul, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So kind of walk us through what's going on and how we can get involved.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and I appreciate you asking it because there are a series of things that we can all do, and we can all do a better job of in conserving water. And it's as simple as, shortening your showers, fixing a leak, things like that, and it really does have an impact. But some of the things that the district is doing specifically where we can have a larger impact is within our agricultural community. And so we've been implementing some new technologies where they change the nozzles on their pivots, add in some additional nozzles and bring them lower to the ground. And it saves upwards of 20%, which is huge because in our basin, agriculture uses 75% of the water. So that's really cool. The other cool thing that we've done is we've put in, through a partnership of SUU and Utah State, we put in a new linear irrigation pivot out at SUU Farm, which analyzes between each of the spans. They have a whole bunch of different nozzles to be able to see which practice is the most efficient, and then they stress the crops. They don't put on as much water, like 50%, and see if they can still get good yields off of that. And so we've got some preliminary research on that. We'll be doing it again for a second year. So we're just doing a lot of research to see how we can best utilize every drop of water that we have in this basin.
Now, and from what I've heard in my agricultural background, the nozzles are actually names of women almost. Lipa, Lena, Lisa, and Misa, I believe.
Yeah, you got them. You hit all of them. That's pretty good.
No, they're good women. Yeah. Women are always good to us. Yeah. So, Dave, tell us a little bit about your position being on the Cedar. Dave, tell us a little bit about your position in being on the Enoch City Council.
I've been on the Enoch City Council for 6 years, and as an elected official, I was appointed to the Central Iron County Water Conservancy District Board, and there I've been able to help represent Enoch and the things that we're doing with water and Enoch's interests, but also try to further the policies of water within Iron County and help develop policies that will help for our foreseeable future for Iron County.
What does that look like, especially with the growth and development that we've been having in phenomenal rates over the last 3 or 4 years? What are we planning to do between the two cities of Cedar and Enoch?
There are a lot of things that we've done. First of all, I think it's important for people to know, with all the growth happening, the cities, when a subdivision comes in, we require that people bring water to us as part of the development. So it's really kind of a net zero effect. We don't issue new water shares. That's not something that Enoch City does. So people often ask, with the shortage of water, why are we continuing to develop? Well, with water being brought to us, we're not using any more water in our basin than what we've been using before. It's just shifting from use somewhere else to us as Enoch City for that development. So we're not necessarily using any more water. If a farm develops some property, that goes from agricultural use to municipality use, and so we're not using any additional water. So I think that answers some of the questions about why are we continuing to grow. But it's a fact that we have been using more water in our aquifer than what we were able to replenish every year. So Enoch City has implemented some policies a few years ago to only take older shares of water as part of what people are able to bring to us when they develop, so that we can continue to provide water for them in perpetuity. And we do that because of the groundwater management plan that came into being a few months ago.
I was going to say, you bring up a really valid point, especially with the State Water Engineer Board, I believe. They're making it so that we're going back, I think, into the 1920s or 30s with the water rights that were established then, and we have to do that over the next 20 or 30 years?
Yeah,
Is that right?
I think it's a 50 or 60-year plan actually, and the first cuts will take place in year 2035, and they go on. But the challenging thing for our municipalities is that between Cedar City, the district, and Enoch, we lose 75% of our water rights, and so that's another thing that we hear all the time is you just need to conserve more. Well, with the cuts in water rights that are coming, we really can't conserve our way out of this. There needs to be another source, and so there's definitely a lot of impacts that are at play from the groundwater management plan. For one, it's created a supply and demand market, and we've seen water rights increase over 400% over the last couple of years, from about 4,000 acre feet to 14,000 acre feet and on up. And so, that's drastically increased the prices, and it really lines up to, what are we going to do in the future? How are we going to provide for the future? And if we just think that our only source of water is here in this basin, you can expect those prices to really go up significantly because of the supply and demand issues here.
So going into some of the economics of what this is going to do, especially, 2035 isn't very far away. It's like literally 13 years. And if we can continue to grow and develop and transition those water rights from agricultural, which, feeds us and clothes us really, into domestic use or culinary use, municipal use, it changes the way that our economy system here works as well. But going into the economics of it, what do the cities and or the districts plan to do about the growth and development or the different things that are going on within that in the price range of, I've heard that hookups or, a new building hookup was in the $1,000 range, and now it's in the $23,000 or $24,000 range?
Yeah, I think, within Cedar City, they've had those significant jumps, and that is because of the increased price of water, as well as recognizing, and as they've done some studies, they've found out that, we actually have been using, or the analysis that they did of how much a household uses was incorrect, and so by adjusting that, those prices have gone up significantly per connection.
And those are changing in this next fiscal year.
Yeah, I think they go into place July 1.
Okay. Wow, and just within that economic force, it's going to readjust, I would say, the growth that's coming and that, for the foreseeable, but it's going into that conservation of that 75% being withdrawn in the next, or starting to be withdrawn in the next 13 years and moving forward within those different things.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. So the costs, as we look at them now, the cost to take agricultural water at their existing price of 14,000 acre foot, if you compare that apples to the cost of our Pine Valley Water Supply Project, they're actually more than what that project is, because as you look at them depletion-wise, the water rights here in this basin are actually about 20,000 acre foot, and the cost of the Pine Valley Water Supply Project per acre foot is about 17,000. And so that's one major benefit of bringing in additional source. Not only do you have another source of water that comes in that helps to become more sustainable and reliable, and just like a financial portfolio is, you want to have you want to diversify your portfolio. It would be a large benefit to us in our valley to have a diversified water portfolio. But it also helped balance out that inflation of price of water rights that are going up and increase to go up because of the supply and demand issue.
I think it's important to realize that we've been blessed with inexpensive water for years and years. We've always had very cheap water when compared to other states and even other areas in our state. But the groundwater management plan changed the market for water, and it created a demand on those older water rights, and that's been the cause of the increased price of water shares, and it has made development difficult because developers need that older water to provide to the municipalities and to the district, so that we can provide water in perpetuity. But the market for that water has become very expensive. And it's frustrating from Enoch's perspective, and I'm sure Cedar City and the county as well, because we also want to provide affordable housing in the sense that we want to be able to have affordable housing for our children so they can stay here. But this is driving the price of housing up even. So that it's creating an economic problem with continued growth and development and housing here.
And so far in this area, especially in southern Utah, we're not seeing growth slowing down. We're seeing a lot of external monies come into the area, which doesn't necessarily play on our direct economic activity here in the town, here in Cedar. Although there's been some developments, like the inland port that's been approved that will gain further traction in the upcoming years. We really should be ahead of what's going on with the economic development here in town and what we need to be doing in the water districts areas.